All right, how you guys doing today? We're about to hop into the review of Proverbs chapter 21. The first things first, I just want to make sure y'all like that video. You know what to do. Exit full screen, scroll a bit, like it, full screen back up. You feel me. Proverbs chapter 21, verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of the waters. He turns it wheresoever he will, right? And this is to show that the Lord has dominion over everything, right? The heart of the king is the Lord's, just like the rivers of the water. He makes them go wherever. Have you ever noticed, right? There's downstream, there's upstream, and rivers flow every different way. There's tributaries, there's deposition of water, all that type of fun stuff. All of that exists, right? Simply like that, all that exists. Some rivers go up, some rivers go down, right? And some even switch directions as they go seasonally. I think, regardless of the fact, the Lord has power over everything, just like he has power over the water and the rivers. The king's heart is in his hand too. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord pondereth the hearts. And with this, he mentioned how, the Lord is the only one who can truly know a heart. We have what's right in our own eyes, right? We do a lot of what we do based on our senses, based on the things we're feeling and our emotions and all that type of stuff. However, what's right for the Lord? Oh, I didn't even think of that. And he also mentioned in the sermon how it just means we're bad judges, right? We don't really know what's right and wrong for real. For real. The Lord is the one in our hearts weighing in this stuff, and he's got to talk to us and tell us and everything that's right and wrong. It's not us, which is our downfall at the end of the day. So to do justice and judgment is more acceptable to the Lord than a sacrifice, right? We don't really need to give anything up, so to speak, if you just do right anyway, right? If you don't do the sacrifice, that means you didn't mess up. Well, back in that time specifically. Nowadays, it just kind of look like just do right all the time rather than having to, you know, penance yourself or whatever the case is, right? Just do it, and it's acceptable. You just do it, it's acceptable, and he loves it, right? And he loves you for doing it. It's that kind of stuff. A high look and a proud heart and a plowing of the wicked is sin. And he didn't mention this in a sermon, but more in a commentary, it was mentioned that the plowing of the wicked, meaning a wicked person does their work, and chances are the benefits of that work is going to go towards sin or go towards something bad. So even work can be sinful for something if it's not good or going to something good, is the kind of way it was put, right? We can look over here because even they often use the benefits of their hard work for an evil person. It's sin because the seed and the evil, the root and the branch, they're full of sin, and what they do is sinful. Figure indicates that the product of the wicked person is sin. Agree with some other translations that a lamp here instead, right? Plowing should almost certainly be lamp, the lamp of them. Even still, the eyes of the lamp, their eyes are sinful, right? Their whole body, their parts, whatever you want to say, it is sinful, and for a multitude of reasons that we can conjure up. But at the end of the day, if you're a wicked person, chances are whatever you do or whatever you are is related to sin in some extent. The thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty only to want, right? So if we're diligent, we're only going to tend, our thoughts are going to lead to plenteousness, right? So if you work hard, thoughts are going to lead to plenty, essentially. But of everyone that is hasty, you're just gonna want, because right, you're never fulfilled. And that's why we have a problem now, oh my gosh, with these TikTok swiper, YouTube shorts, kids, whatever, and they're used to this instant gratification, dopamine hits, so that they can't be patient, they can't lie down and sit still for a minute and just relax, right? They can't just relax. And right, I think we definitely all have our moments, some more than others. There's nobody that's like fully always dopamined up all points of the day, instant gratification all points of the day, but there's definitely tendencies, and those tendencies create habits, and those habits, that's when stuff gets bad. Because you, like me, for example, take me, I was never on TikTok when it first came out. I knew I didn't want to get on that because I was like a short and attention spans. I was actually in the generation that was a little too late for Vine, so to speak. Like, we had the creators like King Batch, Jerry Perp Drank, Logan Paul, Jake Paul. I wasn't too into them, so to speak. More just like King Batch, the other black creators, Marlon Webb. Oh my gosh, yeah. We had those Vines creators, and we watch them, and it was more like the compilations and stuff. I wasn't actually on the app, but in terms of that, I just watch them, and it'd be funny. But these people also made longer content, and I watched that too. And this is before everybody started making really short content. So it was like I grew up on that type of longer content. I was reading books for school and all that type of junk. So it wasn't like my stuff was getting affected. But nowadays, everybody, I did turn to one of those people that wanted to have music on every single point of every single day. I was like flexing my minutes, like I got all these minutes to show, like, yo, I can't do something else but listen to music for this half little bit of time for real. Like I gotta be listening to music. I gotta have some type of stimulation in my life. There's a point I was in my what's it called? I don't want to say it's like the craziest addiction possible, but like I look back at this one point and was like, yeah, that's crazy for real. I was in my cousin's room. We was talking. It was me, my cousin, my brothers, and we were just talking there. I had my headphones in, and she was like, "Yo, why do you got your headphones in?" Like, you know. And I was like, "Oh, it's just background music for the conversation." And I was like, I look back now and I'm like, what? And I think she even went like, what? She's a year older than me. I think my brother also was like, what? He's 2 years older than me. So all the people older than me were like, yo, what is bro on? He's a different breed. He's different. I don't know this kid. But yeah, so it's kind of stuff like that, right? When you're not when you're hasty, all you want is one, right? You got to keep scrolling up on the next post. What's there? I want more information. I want more of this. I want more of that. And the thing is, I heard this from Love Live Serve. I think that they was talking like the more you scroll, the more exhausted you get because your brain's not used to taking in so much information and so many emotions at a time, right? You could watch one funny video, you're sitting there laughing. Watch a sad video, now you're like sad. Watch another video that makes you mad, and now you're mad. And then you're flipping through those emotions like a freaking catalog, and you're like, dang. You just like you keep wanting more because your body's like, oh, all these different emotions. It's cool. It's hitting different dopamine. When the sadness high goes away, there's a happiness high. When the happiness goes away, the anger high, and then you just cycling through highs until your dopamine centers just get put down. And it's like, bro, come on, what are we doing? We could do better than this. Anyway, the getting of treasures by a lying tongue is vanity, tossed to and fro of them that seek death. Right? So you lie and you get treasures. It's pointless, right? This vanity, chaff, wind, whatever, tossed to and fro of them that seek death. And the commentary uses the phrase is the fleeting fantasy of those who seek death, right? It's something that they can never get. They can only hope for it. The hope of great treasure through lying words is a dream of those on the path to destruction. They hope to find great treasure with little work, and they put their trust in fleeting fantasies instead of God. And that literally ties into the previous verse, right? They're hasty, so they hope because they'll never catch it because they want it so fast that they're never willing to put in the work, and they put their trust in that, and they're just hoping, right? They do little work. So their hastiness, and it's going to be poverty at the end of the day, right? We see that. The robbery of the wicked is going to destroy them because they won't do judgment. Right? The robbery of the wicked, they're stealing from people, they're getting themselves stole for, right? Because they say what goes out comes back to you, right? You seek what you row. We call that karma in some states, but we're not going to use karma because that's not like the godly principle. It's just you reap what you sow. And if you want to use karma, like, I ain't saying it's a sin, whatever. I try not to use it just because it's like, I think it's more associated with stuff like Buddhism, or Hinduism. I don't really know which one, but in a different religion, you know what I'm saying? I'm not really with that personally, so I'm not really gonna say it like that. I mess up sometimes because I don't want to say like, oh, you sow what you reap, and then people are looking at me like, what does that mean? You know, they're mostly just talking about like, oh yeah, karma, you know, you get what you give, goes around, comes back around. But one simple word is just karma. So long way to say, if you put it out there, it's gonna come back to you. Oh, and that's another thing. We talk about the universe, like, oh, the universe gonna put it, if you put it out into the universe, it's gonna come back to you. Affirmation, like, no, universe, just God, trust, right? And in the commentary, they even use the example of Judas, right? He wanted that money, he got that money. After he got that money, he couldn't live with the guilt, threw it back at him, hung himself. Pause. The way of man is froward and strange, but as for the pure, his work is right, right? And this ties back to that other thing. Plowing of the wicked is sin. Why? Because the way of a man is froward and strange, right? If you're a wicked man, it's going to be froward and strange work. And it's just your way in general, right? You working is just already froward and strange. But as for the pure man, his work is going to be right. Why? Not because he's doing it for himself or something else. He's doing it for God, right? And that can take on different things, right? It's better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. Pastor Paul in a sermon said he couldn't relate, and it's best probably not to comment. I can't relate. I'm a commenter. Nah, I'm playing. But, you know, I think it's pretty simple to see what it says here, right? You don't want a brawling woman, right? We don't want brawling anybody, right? Let's just say a brawling husband either. Because with that, it's just the implications of those actions, right? I think nowadays in modern dating, people don't really look too far at the implications of certain actions. Do you have a hot temper? How easy is it for you to get mad? All right, maybe that's not a problem. Maybe you get mad quickly. The real test is, what do you do when you get mad? Do you just drop down your knees and pray? Maybe. You start punching holes in the wall? Maybe. You start beating people up? Also, maybe you start drinking, doing drugs. What do you do when you get mad? And that's not to say like you can't be mad, but the response to that madness is really what matters for real. Because without that, you know, what purpose is your anger serving? I can't really speak to what it means about the dwelling in the corner of the housetop, right? Well, obviously, Bible doesn't really support divorce like that, but I guess stay far away from each other to some extent. I don't know. Let's check the commentary. It's not a great place to live. It's small, confined, exposed to the elements because it's on the roof. Yet in some circumstances, it's apparently the better place to live. The roof of a house in those countries was flat and plain and habitable, but exposed to all injuries of the weather. A man had better abide sub dio under the sun, exposed to wind, the weather, yet to crowd in a corner and to live with little ease, than to go have it in a convenient house with a contented woman that is ever brawling and brangling. I have never heard that word. Let's check it out. Primarily refers to the act of squabbling, squabble up, squabble. No, I'm kidding. Disputing or wrangling. I'm very sorry for that. The woman is ambiguous, for it could refer to a woman in the household, mother, granddaughter. That is low key true. It could be anybody, but you know, back to what I was saying earlier though, the little things. It's the little things you gotta look for in attitudes and beliefs. Stuff as little as, is she wearing modest clothes? Is something I look at, right? I go to my church organization, is what they call it on campus. I always say my church group, whatever, brothers and sisters in Christ on campus. When I go there, I'm looking at somebody's outfits and I'm like, these aren't okay. And this is what you're wearing to the org. What are you wearing outside of this? Like, I put some, you know what I'm saying? I don't go to my Christian org and I don't be wearing no, it's a personal thing, right? Heart posture for sure. But also there's a level of, all right, like, you not even making it hard or my bad, you're making it hard for the men. No pun intended. But I don't go there. I'm not wearing my Mortal Kombat shirt because, some people may, they violent or something, or they don't let themselves play the game. I don't wear my Mortal Kombat shirt. I don't wear my Ski Mask shirt. If you know the rapper, right? It's got his name on it. Back when I was listening to him, crazy. He used to be my favorite rapper back in the day, so I got a shirt from him, right? It's got his name on it. I wouldn't wear that to the Christian org because that's just not a good look. So I don't wear that shirt there. I don't wear my Mortal Kombat shirt there. Those are the two blatant things I don't wear there, but I can't think of anything else for real. But you get the point. It's the little things. And it's the things like, oh, if you talk to them and then, it's like, hey, I asked you this, could you do it, please? It's like, I'll get to it, whatever. And it's like, you trust them to get to it? Or do you just take it on yourself to do it without trusting them that they'll get to it, whatever? You got to give it a little time. Or do you see if they change when you ask them to, hey, I really like it if you would put the seat down after you pee, right? That true love should be like, hey, I'll put it down. Same effort that she has to put it up is the same effort I would have to put it down, or the same effort she would have to put it down, same effort I could use to put it up, right? Technically, it's an equal action. However, happy wife, happy life is what they say. But in this case, it's not. You got that brawling, that brangling, whatever the word was in that thing, right? And it's just like, what led us to this point? A lot of people think about where they're at right now. They think about the destination. They think about, oh, this girl bad. Oh, this, she do this, she do this, she do this. You know what I'm saying? I'm making this money. She's staying at home. We doing this and all this, right? They don't think about the actual journey. They just think about the destination. Oh, we gonna get married. We gonna have kids and all this stuff. And it's like, who are you having kids with, gang? Who are you actually dating? You don't know the intricacies of their personality and their weird tendencies that go on in their day-to-day life. Like for me, I know, like, I'm very opinionated. It's hard to talk to me and argue with me on certain things. Like, I just don't be hearing. Not like I don't be hearing, but like it's very hard to get me to change my mind on something. I'm integrous enough to do it when I do, but it's very rare that I'll see your side of the story, honestly. Or even drowning myself in work. I don't really leave time for impromptu meetings, right? Random little pop-up meetings like, yo, let's go do this spontaneously. It's like, I don't really do that. I be drowning myself in work, and it's kind of hard to like maintain a life off of that, because I'm drowning myself in work because I don't like to not be busy, right? I don't like to feel like my time is being squandered in some way. I like to be feeling like I'm productive. However, that becomes an issue when something takes longer than it should. Then it's messing me up. I'm behind schedule because when I'm ahead of schedule, I don't like to prep. I like to relax when on my edit schedule, because then it's like, this is my relax time, and then I drown myself in work again until the next relax time, right? Like, you wouldn't even know today's my final day of the thing, right? I'm still making this video. I make these videos every day, so I have something to do every day, right? I have something to learn, something to make, right? Doing the research for these, right? Not a reaction. The reactions are kind of quick. They're more so on the busy days when I have that I'll do reactions, but this it's roughly 20-esque minutes on average to watch the sermon. More if I got to understand it deeper, right? About 20-esque minutes to record, another 30 probably to edit and post it. So it's like, that's a good hour and a half of my day gone every day. A lot of people say, that's crazy. You could be working out every day. Oh, I work out usually too. During the semester, I try to work out once a day at the least, and that's usually the weight room. There I also throw in some cardio days. There'd be days back when I had dance practice where I'd be hitting 40K steps dancing, 30K steps dancing, 5K, 4K calorie burn in a day, that type of stuff. Or if I can't really get to the gym, I usually find something, hit some push-ups in my room, practice my handstands, whatever the case is. I cannot do a handstand, but I'm working, we trying, you know. But it's stuff like that, right? I just like to keep myself busy, and it's a lot of self-development, but it doesn't really leave time for like work for real, and that's the problem. However, I will say I'm lucky that my major is pretty inclusive. Anyway, as we saw earlier, though, we want to be working diligently for the Lord, as to not let all of our actions and benefits from those actions become sin. Anyway, y'all lucky. All right, that's gonna be the end of the video. Hope you guys have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.